In this video, I am going to address the growing concern with mental health among freelance creatives in the UK and the factors that contribute to their well-being. The creative industry is the fastest developing sector in the UK economy and is growing twice as fast as other industries. As of March 2018, Britain's creative industries are worth 92 billion, employing 2 million workers. According to Design Council's research in Designing a Future Economy, published in 2017, workers with design skills contribute 209 billion to the UK economy, with creative freelancers making 40% of the industry. Across all sectors, a growing number of people in the UK are becoming self-employed, with the figure rising from 3.3 million in 2001 to 4.8 million in 2017. With the growth of the gig economy, crowdsourcing, and the constant digitisation of not only the way we work, but the way workforces communicate, freelancers are having to adopt to fit a changing landscape that, while it has its benefits, doesn't always promote good mental health. The growing popularity of working as a freelancer has been linked to the rise of the gig economy. The gig economy is utilised in many different ways across all sectors, but can be defined as a labour market characterised by the prevalence of short-term contracts or freelance work as opposed to permanent jobs. In the context of a freelance designer, this would mean completing a project for a client on a short-term basis, potentially working remotely and contacting the client through email or social media with maybe a few meetings. This way of working has its advantages for both designers and clients alike. For small and medium-sized enterprises, or SMEs, hiring freelancers on a short-term basis means that they don't have to spend extra money hiring another full-time employee for in-house projects. For designers, freelancing can mean a greater freedom in terms of working hours, decisions on pay, and the flexibility to work remotely and contact clients from all over the world, which leads to greater opportunities. Despite the rise in opportunities provided by the gig economy for freelancers, it has also caused some problematic advancements in the way the field operates. The growing demand to connect creative freelancers and clients has spurred the creation and popularity of crowdsourcing sites such as People Per Hour, Fiverr, and 99 Designs. These sites are a platform for designers to upload a portfolio, set their hourly rate, and either contact or be contacted by clients. People Per Hour cite themselves as the #1 freelancing hub, with 1.5 million registered users spanning 89 countries, and $100+ million earned by freelancers on the site. So with this many opportunities just on one site, why are they having such a negative effect? There are several reasons that come into play. Firstly, many of the freelancers on the site have had no education or work experience prior to signing up, but have the same access to equipment and software that professional designers do. For example, if they were to create a logo for an SME, they could strip away the complex process of understanding a company's identity and churn out a generic logo in just a matter of hours. The efficiency of the design also comes with a very cheap price tag. With low costs and quick turnaround times, SMEs will often pick these designs over a more educated and experienced designer. Some believe that this has led to the debasement of graphic design, as it compromises the value designers provide to their clients through a problem-solving relationship, and clients will continue to look for the cheapest solution rather than the most effective. These attitudes are becoming more of a concern as the number of freelancers rise. 88% of those in the creative industry have an undergraduate degree or higher, and more significant numbers of graduates are choosing to freelance. I asked Rivka Sadia, freelance graphic designer and web developer in London, why she chose to freelance after graduating. Hi Rivka.
Hi Jasmin.
So, a growing number of design graduates starting their careers by freelancing. Why did you choose to do the same?
When I left university, I was living in Brighton, and because there weren't many jobs in design agencies and graphic design studios, it seemed like the easiest thing to do. And that meant I could get clients in London and in like different parts of the country, because obviously like Brighton's near enough to London, but also like working there on a daily basis was a bit of a stretch with like an hour, like 2 hour long commutes and stuff.
Yeah.
And also I feel like it's sort of been advertised as like if you become freelance, you've made it and you're not working for someone else.
Rivka's answer seems to mirror most in her position, as there are fewer in-house opportunities with more businesses looking to crowdsource their designs instead. The devaluation of design is becoming an increasing problem, as it not only has an impact on the creative economy, but also has a worrying impact on the well-being of freelancers. 1 in 4 people in the UK will be diagnosed with a mental health issue annually. Those working in the creative industry are 3 times more likely to suffer than the rest of the population. I asked Rivka if she'd ever been concerned about her mental health because of the way she was working.
I don't know, I've never asked anyone else directly, but I think I could imagine that it would, because of like things like you say, like the expectation to get things finished fast and kind of like isolation and stuff in freelancing. But then I suppose that also applies to like employed jobs in studios, so because there's like obviously a huge expectation at the moment to work overtime unpaid. But then I suppose the thing of working in-house or in a studio means that at least you're protected by this idea that like when you're in the studio you're at work, and that like studio hours are the hours you work, and then often freelancers are expected to be sort of like to be able to answer to their clients like at all hours of the day, and it's more difficult to define those boundaries. And it's something you can do, but you're like you have to like really set down the boundaries for clients to understand that like they can't call you like at 10 on a Friday and expect you to like talk to them about the project or like make an amendment or something.
Yeah, of course. Sort of end up feeling like you're always on the clock.
Yeah. So I guess like the thing of not being able to switch off is probably doesn't help mental health.
Yeah. It sort of kind of adds to the feeling of sort of being isolated, because all you're kind of doing is just in your own head working.
And sometimes it can be like all you know of your client is like this to do, like this growing and shrinking and growing and like fluctuating to do list that you've got like line that's like there's no kind of, you haven't really got an idea of what they're like in person.
From what I have looked into previously, it seems evident that the sense of isolation when it comes to freelancing is going to become an increasing problem as the industry grows. The pressure to work quickly, as well as an often blasé attitude towards design from clients, is reducing the amount of face-to-face contact freelancers are receiving. So why is face-to-face contact so important? There is consistent scientific research that shows that those who are less socially active have a 30% higher mortality rate than those who have strong personal relationships. In the Pathophysiology of Perceived Social Isolation, published in 2017, it states that humans are a social species that thrive on a wide variety of social interactions and networks, and that high levels of social support have been shown to increase immunity to infection, lower risk of heart disease, and reduce the chance of mental decline with age. As well as general health problems, face-to-face contact has been shown to reduce the risk of mental health problems. In a 2015 study, does mode of contact with different types of social relationship predict depression among older adults? Adults aged 50 or over were observed using 3 different types of contact: in-person, telephone, or email. The results showed that the probability that a person having depressive symptoms increased with a decrease in person-to-person contact, but not telephone or email. While this study is based around older adults, the findings are consistent with other research that supports that humans of all ages suffer from a lack of face-to-face contact. The findings suggest that the digitisation of our communication is having a significant effect on our well-being, which further suggests that having all work-related communication through email, phone, or social media is incredibly unhealthy. Susan Pinker, psychologist and author of The Village Effect, details the positive chemical effects that come from having communication face-to-face.
why distinguish between this kind of thing and online activity? Like what is the purpose? What is the point of doing that? And one of the reasons that we do distinguish it is because when you meet face-to-face and do things with people face-to-face, there's a whole cascade of neurotransmitters that are released into your bloodstream and hormones into your brain. These damp down stress, they allow us to lower our guard and trust people. Sometimes this is a good thing, sometimes this is a bad thing, as you'll find out. There's like even something as simple as a high five or a handshake or a pat in the back is enough to release oxytocin, which is a hormone that makes us feel good in the here and now. It's sort of a homegrown painkiller, and it also brings us closer to the people whom we're with. It's dopamine is generated, so this gives us a little high. And all of this passes under our conscious radar. And I think that's why a lot of us confuse online interaction with the real thing, because we're not really aware of what's happening when we're with people as opposed to when we're connecting with people online.
So what exactly can be done about mental health among creative freelancers? The government is introducing new initiatives into workplaces to combat mental health stigma and create safe spaces for people to work. In Thriving at Work, the Stevenson Farmer Review of Mental Health and Employers, it is detailed that as well as the effects on employee welfare, mental health costs employers between 33 billion and 42 billion per year, with over half of that due to employees being less productive at work due to poor mental health. Solutions outlined involve implementing a standard of mental health work plan for all businesses, developing mental health awareness, encouraging conversations about support available, as well as routinely monitoring employee well-being. Although this is a great start in beginning to address mental health in the workplace, it's much harder to gauge how freelancers can have access to the same support. I posed the question to Rivka if it should be the case that crowdsourcing sites should at least give information about well-being.
I think if you've got someone working in-house, you should have the same sort of duties to make sure they're like being kept well, etc.
Yeah.
But it should be more kind of like accessible, finding out about like what hours you're expected to do for what pay, because I think jobs can vary so much that it's like, especially starting out, it's really difficult to know your value and like know when you're being overworked.
To conclude, mental health and well-being issues are becoming a problem because of the increased pressures freelancers are facing, in part due to digitisation and globalisation of the way they're working, which has led to them being undervalued by clients and isolated. Due to their remote nature, it is difficult to gauge how much support individuals are getting. While proposed initiatives such as regular well-being checkups, as proposed in Thriving at Work, are unlikely to directly affect freelancers, it does highlight issues within the industry that will hopefully have a trickle-down effect that could lead to an increasing number of employers valuing the well-being and craft of creative freelancers.